What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, what can I say? All my predictions for fights that I had posted were coming true, and Mike Alvarado came and spoiled the party. That was the prediction that I got wrong today. And you know what? In being wrong, I'm okay with that, especially because what I just witnessed. And as far as the Brandon Rios, Mike Alvarado, too, in my opinion, it delivered. Um, Definitely a fight of the year contender. I have it slightly behind Timothy Bradley Ruslan Provodnikov as my favorite fight of the year so far. My fight of the year candidate. Just a slight edge to Timothy Bradley Ruslan Provodnikov because in that battle, I felt I honestly didn't know what would happen at any point. And there were definite points in this fight where I didn't know what was going to happen. Um, and I'll get into that. But towards the end, it looked like Alvarado started to carry away on the scorecard. So it looked like he had a pretty secure victory in my eyes and Harold Letterman's eyes and the HBO boxing ring commentators' eyes um, towards the stretch of the fight. But definitely there was moments of suspense, moments of sustained explosive action. And before I get into my breakdown of this fight, I must say that both fighters showed tremendous heart. They're both warriors, and I would be a fan of a third fight just because I didn't know if they'd be able to duplicate it. Far too many times in the sport of boxing, we see a fight, and the first one is just thrilling, and the second one doesn't necessarily match that caliber or that intensity. Um, Juan Diaz versus Marquez Part 2, it wasn't as good as the first fight. Um, this fight delivered, in my opinion. I had no complaints with it. Um, it was the type of fight that like normally I get my iPhone app and I score the fight as I go, but I didn't want to miss anything, so I didn't even bother scoring. I just had like more of a mental tally in my head of who was winning and that kind of thing. So I recorded it. I'm definitely gonna watch it again probably tomorrow. Um, so I don't have all the. I apologize. I don't have all the round numbers. I'm not gonna go online and research all the round numbers. So I'm just gonna freestyle this off the top of my head. Okay, in the first round, it was a. I gave it to Brandon Rios. I thought he did enough, landed some harder shots, and then they went to their corner, and then they came out for the second round. Now in the second round, I thought Alvarado was done for because there was a moment in the second round where Rios appeared to really stagger Alvarado with a jab, and then he started to follow up with that. Um, so I was like, damn, he's in trouble. He definitely is a rematch or excuse me, a repeat of what happened in the first fight. But Mike Alvarado showed tremendous heart and tenacity and didn't give up. And it looked like he embraced the challenge and legs or no legs, he withstood that and was able to fight. Later in the mid rounds, again, I don't have all the rounds off the top of my head. It looked like Alvarado rocked Brandon Rios. I mean, at the end of the interview, the post fight interview, Rios said he was never rocked because he's a warrior. But from what I seen, what HBO seen, it looked like he was rocked. It looked like his legs buckled a bit, and he began to retreat a little bit. And that's not something you see from a pressure fighter. So if you get a pressure fighter to retreat, then you must have done something right. Again, this fight was it's high octane. It's very energetic. Both of them had their moments and explosiveness, but I think Mike Alvarado ultimately, towards the stretch, he executed and utilized his game plan, which is something. If you watch my prediction for the rematch, I didn't think he'd be able to do that. I thought one, Rios would have the mental edge because he stopped him last fight. Two, I thought Rios would have tremendous momentum based on the looming deals in the background, like a possible Ruslan Provodnikov or Bradley fight for Rios, or maybe even a Pacquiao fight. And he's looking to get on pay per view. So I thought the momentum would be too much. Um, Everybody knew what Mike Alvarado and Team Alvarado, what their game plan was for this fight. That was to box more, limit the phone booth exchanges, and not fight so much Brandon Rios' type of fight. So I thought that Garcia and Brandon Rios would cut off the ring, and he did a good job, and he definitely tried. But again, Mike Alvarado, he proved everybody wrong, or proved me wrong at least, by showing that he was a superior boxing. He used a lot of lateral movement, He was in and out with his punches, and that's exactly what you need to do. So, just to make this clear, if you call this fight a robbery, kill yourself. Two, it was a great fight, and I take nothing away. Again, they're both warriors, and I predicted and projected that Brandon Rios would win, but this is far from a robbery. And again, it's because Alvarado pulled away. Now, there was times where Alvarado was hurt, but I also felt there was times where Rios was hurt. He obviously has a chin, so maybe he doesn't show it the same way, but based on his body language, it looked like he was hurt at points. And he allowed Mike Alvarado to use movement to frustrate him and outwork him, and he scored some big shots in some of those rounds. So to me, it's far from a robbery. It's a great fight. Rios was game the whole way, but he just couldn't find that range, and it looked like Alvarado got hurt with the jab, and he made adjustments to adapt, whereas I seen Rios's game plan for the most part stayed the same. He just mounted the pressuring attack. In Rios's defense, or to credit Rios, one thing that I did notice is some shots that he probably would have got hit with in the first fight, he didn't. So it looked like his defense had improved. And both fighters, not just Rios, but both fighters actually attacked the body. And I thought that was a good look, instead of just headhunting. So again, it was an excellent fight. Mike Alvarado won via unanimous decision. The scorecards were, in my opinion, fair scorecards. It was a close fight. But I think Alvarado outboxed. He used movement, landed, and outworked. He had a higher work rate, so therefore he won. And he proved to himself a lot of things in this fight. If you watch the post-fight interview, it looked like he was tearing up and possibly going to cry during his interview, just because the redemption and to actually redeem yourself and get revenge, extract revenge, it must have been a huge moment for him. One thing I didn't like is Rios kind of butted in the middle of his speech with Max Kellerman, and he just like bogarted the interview, like, oh, yo, fuck it, let's do it again, da-da-da. And I know Brandon Rios is going to be Brandon Rios, but at the same time, I don't think that was the classiest move. Obviously, there's tons of emotions going on. You were undefeated. You just received your first loss. It's hard for anybody to take, and he probably thought he won. Once he watches the tape, I think he'll be able to see what he did differently. Again, Alvarado just didn't allow him to reset, so my prediction was wrong. I didn't think, honestly, that Alvarado would be able to ward off Rios for that long. And something in the first fight, Rios proved that he can hurt Alvarado, and up until this fight, Alvarado hadn't proven to himself or to the world that he can hurt Rios. Even though he was landing big shots, Rios kept pressing his attack. So he proved a lot of people wrong. Obviously, when it comes to this matchmaking or this match, I can't call it, because the first fight, if you watch my earlier prediction video, and I'll put it in the video response category on this video, on the first fight, I thought Alvarado would win, and I was wrong because Rios won. And then on the rematch, I'm like, okay, I seen the first fight, Rios got this one, and then I was wrong. So normally my predictions are on point, but with this particular match, I guess I can't call it. So I definitely would like to see a third fight from the two. It was a good fight. It was an entertaining fight, edge of your seat entertainment. Definitely my number 2 fight of the year, like slightly behind Timothy Bradley, Ruslan Provodnikov. Hell of a fight. I'm going to watch it again later. And both fighters went out and definitely showed why they deserved to be there, and why I just didn't think they'd be able to duplicate and have as much success. But this was definitely an interesting match, and I liked it all the way. Like I said, the only thing I didn't like is at the end, Rios was kind of butting in, like, oh, fuck it, I'll fight you in your home turf, and da-da-da-da. And you could tell he has respect, but it sounded like he was just more or less kind of being a poor sport, just not used to losing. So he just wants immediate vindication, but in the world of boxing, it takes time. The first fight happened in October, and this one happened like 5 months later in March. So I'm sure Brandon Rios will get his opportunity. If I know Bob Arum in Top Rank and both fighters' camps, I'm pretty sure the rematch or another rematch will happen. So let me know what you guys thought. Was the fight a robbery? Do you think Alvarado won? Do you think Rios should have won? As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Until next video, it's Ego signing off.